right, it's time for another edition of Meet the Doc. Here it's Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, a proud presenting partner of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. We're on the east side of Cincinnati. I think it's called the Route 32 corridor, who this gentleman standing beside me is quite familiar with. So this is Dr. Andrew Kalthoff. He's, you're kind of, do they have a nickname for you yet? Are you the Route 32 East Side Corridor Doc? Does that fit? Do you accept that? Is that okay?
I'll accept whatever they give me. Haven't been given anything official yet.
All right, well, let me see if I can get the schools right. You fill in the blanks if I miss one.
Sure.
So Batavia, Eastern and Western Brown, West Claremont, Williamsburg.
Yes.
And Claremont Northeastern.
Claremont Northeastern.
All
yes,
right,
sir.
that wasn't bad.
No, you got 5
just a
and
little
6.
nudge at the end. So obviously you're an orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, but you're a Cincinnati guy. So let's talk a little bit about that. So you're from Cincinnati, went to St. Xavier High School. Hopefully people over on the east side here won't hold that against you, right? That means you're smart, right?
That's what they say.
All right, where'd you rank in the class at St. X, right?
I rank pretty well.
Okay,
obviously.
good. Well enough.
well
enough to become a doctor, right? So there you go. So last year you were a fellow and you were on the sidelines at Princeton High School. So
yes.
How was that experience? And from last year to this year, what did you learn from that, and what did you take with you when you're on the sidelines now on a Friday night?
Yeah, great question. So I worked at Princeton with Dr. Mark Galloway, who is the Bengals team doctor. He covers a couple of the high schools in the area, so it was great to learn from him. Obviously, that NFL experience, got to work with some of the Bengals players as well. What I learned from it is just how to address athletes. It's a different patient than a normal person who comes in 9 to 5. Worker, things like that. They have higher expectations. They want to get back quicker. And to see how you take care of that on the sidelines and in the clinic was very invaluable.
Well, now you mentioned athletes. I got to believe coaches are a whole different category of breed, because I mean, coaches they obviously want their athletes safe, but they also want them returning to play as quick as they possibly can.
Absolutely.
How do you balance all that? I mean, you got, the kid wants to play, coach wants the kids to play, but yet you're the guy who has to go, well, hold on a minute, wait a minute, right? I mean,
yeah, it's an ongoing battle sometimes, but at the end of the day, the key is the patients and the athlete and their health. And you let them know the risks and benefits of what they're doing. If they want to play on something that you may not want them to, if they have a college tape that they want to get filmed or things like that for future career progression, that's one thing, but usually you put their health first and then everything falls into place.
Well, let me ask you too, you talk to kids on teams and coaches, and they talk about getting better and, each season, and, when you're a sophomore, what are you going to be like when you're a senior? I'll ask you, you're obviously a younger doc, and so you're getting into it. Do you feel like, is that something for you that you look for, things that you're learning in different scenarios and how you handle things? I got to believe it's a maturation process for you as well.
Absolutely. It's a totally different animal to be out on my own, making my own decisions versus being in training. And same thing with an athlete coming up. You have to get the bumps and bruises along the way to get the experience to match with what you're learning and reading and being taught. And so absolutely, every day is learning experience, getting better every day.
So you got a lot of schools, Doc. Now, do we have a nickname? Do you know names? Do you say, hey, turn around so you can see the name on the back, the number? I mean, it's kind of funny, but I mean, I know you guys at Mercy Health really value partner schools and taking care of the student athletes. And I know one of the things that from our experience with Mercy Health is great relationships that you guys build with coaches and the athletic departments, not just football, but all sports.
Yes.
And I presume that's important to you as well.
Absolutely. Obviously the big draw is football for most schools, but we take care of every athlete and keep them as equal importance, whether it's football, volleyball, golf, tennis, male, female, it doesn't really matter. We want every student athlete to do well, to stay healthy and get through their seasons and, to be the best athlete and student they can be.
All right, this segment's called Mercy Health Meet the Doc. So I'm gonna ask you just some quick fire questions here. And do you have a favorite sports team? Is there some team that's a go-to for you that you're a fan of?
Yeah, Bengals.
All right,
absolutely.
Bengals. So what do you think this year? I mean, is this the year? It's eternal hope, right? Is this the year?
I hope so. They are looking much better than they have previously. They got a lot of guys back from injury, so it was almost like having a second off-season signing period just from getting the guys back from injury. Burrow's looking strong. Mentally, it looks like he's back. So I'm excited to see where we can go.
Spoken like a true Cincinnatian, right? He's got optimism now because you know why? That the season's just underway,
yes.
So it's early enough, right? So now I got to ask you this. Cincinnati, obviously, Skyline Chili, it's the Crosstown Showdown. If you're a Cincinnati native, it's interesting. Some of the docs who aren't from Cincinnati, they've kind of had to it's become the acquired taste, if you will. So how about you? Is there a Skyline chili go-to for you? I mean, is there something like, being a native Cincinnati, it's probably different, right?
Oh, a little different. Skyline's my go-to, and I eat it almost once a week. And it's usually a 3-way and a couple cheese conies. Knock it out.
So that's a standard.
That's a standard.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We ask all the student athletes too, and it's very funny how some of them have like it's a pendulum. It runs the gamut. Hungry versus not hungry, right? So, and I'll ask you one final question but from a doctor standpoint is, you haven't exactly entered in the easiest of times. I mean, 2020 was the COVID year, if you will. Now this year we're still, going through some of that, and I know, how has that been kind of as a challenge too, because you have to make sure, and I know schools are making sure, and athletic departments and coaches are doing all those right things to make sure that everybody stays healthy.
Absolutely, and it's a difficult thing because COVID protocols can sometimes prevent athletes from playing or being involved in anything. And how a lot of sports and athletics is very close contact with other human beings without any protective equipment at all. So it's been very challenging, but I think we've been able to do very well with it, especially moving into this year with a year of COVID underneath our belts, allowing some fans back into the stadiums and getting face-to-face time with the athletes on the sidelines without too big of a risk. But it has been a challenge, definitely a unique generational experience, that's for sure.
All right, so it's another Mercy Health Meet the Doc, and you can see this is a doc that would take great care of your student athletes. Dr. Andrew Kalthoff, that Route 32, is it route? I always call it route. A root kind of grows in the ground. To me, it's a route. But anyway, if you're on the east side, you'll probably see him taking great care as a Mercy Health orthopedic surgeon specializing in sports medicine. They've got great partner schools over here. I'm not going to ask. I was going to give you a nickname challenge, but I figured we'll give you a little bit more time to knock those out.
Appreciate that.
You want me to try one on you?
Sure.
Batavia.
Batavia? Oh, got nothing.
Bulldogs.
Oh.
How about West Claremont?
Wolves.
Okay.
Got that one.
All right, we'll try one more. How about that?
Okay.
Claremont, since this is the one I almost forgot. Claremont Northeastern.
Ooh, not sure.
Well, they're the same. I can tell you this because this is another Mercy Health school. They're the same as the McNicholas Rockets. They're both Rockets. So there you go. Dr. Andrew Kalthoff, next time where he's going to go 6 for 6 in big games, he promises. But this has been a Meet the Doc, a part of the Mercy Health, great, proud presenting partner of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. This is Mercy Health Meet the Doc.